Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nate the Nerdarch.
Nerdarch is Ted.
And no, Nerdarchy did not say booze is the only way to get your friends to play Dungeons and Dragons.
If you have a GM901, you can submit those over to us at nerdarchy@gmail.com. Just put GM901 in the subject.
All right, so we have an email from David, and he is a younger player. He said he was 16.
Yes, correct.
And he said that
He wants to get his friends playing, and he watched one of our videos about
Getting your friends to play.
Getting your friends to play, and part of that video, we said that you could use alcohol to kind of lower some inhibitions and get things.
Yeah,
going.
you know, you're like inviting people over for a game night to hang out, you know, drink some booze or whatever, and some D&D might happen. Okay, so we agree with David. He should not get his friends to come over and drink to play Dungeons and Dragons. He's a bit young for that. 5 years.
The U.S. it's 21. So
yeah. So now we need to come up with other ways other than alcohol for him to get his friends to come over.
Well, it's been a while since we did that video. I didn't recall we did it. So
You might not have been on it.
I might not have been on it. So I would say that it can be kind of difficult based on the type of friends you have. So I mean, if you're the D&D type player, or if you, I don't know, there are people that you're hang out with that read books, that read fantasy books, you know, people that have similar interests already.
It's all about targeting.
You know, the gateway into you gotta find your target audience for people you're going to try and gather around. If it's just your friends you hang out with, well, you might be met with a little bit of success, a little bit of failure based on how close in their interests lie with your interests.
Well, also the question too is there a different role playing game where that lines up better with their interests?
Yeah, like if you're on the comic books, well, then probably a hero type game would be better suited for
and
you.
They also have some rules light versions as well they could bust out.
Yeah,
or
like Fate Accelerated is probably good for whatever, really.
It is good for whatever. Fate Accelerated, there's Bash, there are Icons, there's a couple different ones. But you know, and again, if they're more into science fiction, you might look to a different game like Star Wars. Now that's a little complicated, so you might want to go with something. Yeah, Cypher system you can do pretty much anything with, which is kind of easy as well. So there's definitely a lot of options. That in itself doesn't help you with getting them to the table and play. And it's like Nate said, it's like, well, what are they into? What are they doing with their time that's going to make them want to come and sit down and play a role-playing game? Like, are all your friends jocks? Well, I mean, I guess you could tell them, be like, yo, we're having a draft for fantasy football. And then, you know, you put up all the players and they're like orcs, dwarves, and elves.
Trolls.
And trolls, yeah.
You all fall down a well and you're now in a fantasy world.
You know, but if not, you got to have like the common interests in order for it to work, and you can just talk to them and see if they're interested in the idea. You know, if they like video games where they're playing in a fantasy game like World of Warcraft, well, how would you like to do that with more options? That's you're gonna have to sell it. You know, basically,
or let's gather 10 of this item to get a quest complete.
Yeah, you're going to have to sell them on the benefits of playing a role-playing game, which we probably have other videos of that as well, more so than anything else. So you're going to have to explain to them why they need D&D in their life.
And you can do that by
getting
talking
a puppet
about
first. Get some pews.
Well, you could say what interests you about it. You know, so like start from that rather than having them make the decision about it right away. They like say like, oh, this is what I think is cool about it. I'd like to play in it sometime, so I'm just finding some people together. That way, you're not putting them on the spot. They don't have to say yes or no right away. So it's more of you like seed the idea like several times before you're even going to ask them.
Showing them different pieces of art is a good way as well to capture the imagination. Or are they playing MMOs? Well, which ones are they playing? And like, are you playing it as well? So you can point out specific reference points in that game where you're like, doesn't it kind of suck that you can't do this or you can't do that? Well, what if I told you I could fix that? We can make it so you can do that, play this character, and do that thing that you couldn't do. You just got to find the selling points.
Yeah, I think the infinite variability of the choices you make is really popular compared to a set standard choice thing where you only have 3 or 4 choices for a game.
Years ago, we were playing using the Mutants and Masterminds rules. We played a Dresden Files games. If you've been watching our videos, we talk about the book series all the time. But a friend of mine from my previous job really likes the Dresden Files, and I told him that I was going to be running this game, and he's like, I've never done a tabletop role-playing game before. Can I get in on that? So just having that thing that he really cared about being the central focus made him, take that leap. If you can find that element in your group of friends, they might just take that leap without needing a heavy-handed, oh, do you want to play this?
Yeah, my son was the same way. Like, he really didn't have that much interest in playing tabletop role-playing games until there was a game where he could play a purple gorilla from space. Then he was sold.
That's all they needed.
So it's really just a matter of figuring out what it is your friends are into, and then taking that interest of theirs and correlating it to a tabletop role-playing game or to Dungeons & Dragons specifically, if that works.
Yeah, it's really finding what they want to do and giving it to them.
You have to be a salesman and just sell it.
So how would you handle this in your game? Do you have any tips for David? Please put them in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
Also, Patreon is a good way at patreon.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.